Avete, fratres and sorors. My name is Ph.D. Pio, Imperatrix of the Temple of Both Hermes. Welcome to my home. Today I have decided to teach a brief introductory lecture on living a magical lifestyle. And in order to do this, I've decided to invite you into my home to illustrate what I believe are one of the most important concepts, which is you can do magic anywhere. One of the biggest challenges, I think, that I hear from a lot of new students, and even students who have progressed mostly through the outer order, are that they don't believe that they have the time or the space to do magic, even though they want to. So I wanted to kind of give you an example of how even an adept may live their magical lifestyle and show you that even you can fit magic into your life no matter what you're doing. You'll notice here that I have my altar set up behind me. I'll discuss a little bit more of my altar in the next lecture on temple etiquette and vows. However, you'll notice one important thing. I do not have a separate room in my house for a temple space. Instead, my temple space is set up in the common room. Now that works fine for me because I live with another mage who lives the lifestyle, and my son, of course, has grown up in the Golden Dawn. I was pregnant with him when I was Hyrea, so he's been there ever since the beginning. But a lot of people believe you have to have a special space set up. Now, while it's ideal to have a separate room in your house or to have a special little place in your house set up that nobody else can enter or see, that's not always how reality in life works. In this situation in Colorado, just as many other people are experiencing today, housing prices are very expensive. So all of the bedrooms that we have in the house are being utilized for our family members, and that has left no special room for the temple space. However, I perform magic every single day. And I do it here in our living room when my son is at school and my roommate is at work. Before I go to work, or even in the afternoon when I come home from work, right before my son gets home from school. Now, it's not, like I said, it's not the most ideal place to perform magic. However, we are given wonderful tools in the Neophyte grade to prepare a magical space for ourselves called the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. And later on, you'll also get another banishing ritual in a higher grade to complement the LBRP. So the point of this is that sometimes in order to lead a magical lifestyle, one must make do. And I'll tell you that right here in this very living room, while it might not seem glorious, I perform many amazing magical works. I've had some of the deepest personal spiritual experiences right here in this very living room, proving to me that even though it's wonderful to have a sacred space carved out for yourself, it's not necessary in order for you to have the spiritual experiences you need. Another complaint that I often hear from people is, I just don't have time to do magic. I completely understand. I have been a mother and a PhD student for the past, well, I've been a mother for 11 years, and then I've been in school now for almost 8 years getting my doctorate. So in terms of not having time, I get it. I totally get it. And yet, you can still find ways to carve out time. Another misconception is that in order to perform magic, you have to have X amount of time, in your special space in order to do that. And I will tell you today that while, again, that is the most ideal, it is not absolutely necessary. my personal magical practice, I'll just give you an idea of my schedule for the week and when I perform my magic. I get up at 7 a.m. every day and I get my son ready for school. I drop him off at school and then I drive to work, which takes me about a half hour. On that drive to work is when I perform my my first set of my spiritual practice for the day. I do prayers, I do adorations, and then I do astral banishings and an astral middle pillar in my car on the way to work. And I will tell you right now that if I don't, for some reason, do that in the morning, it really changes the tone of my day. Being able to perform banishings astrally, and when I say astrally, I mean visualizing them in your head, gives you the opportunity to perform magic anywhere you are. You could be at a family gathering, you could be at a play, you could be in a movie, you can be in the car, you can be at work. You can literally be anywhere and close your eyes and begin to perform the Kabbalistic cross and your banishings right then and there. Maybe you're on a lunch break, you only have 20, 30 minutes. You can just sit there in your chair at work. Sometimes you want to go into the bathroom. Now, I know that that sounds a little gross. Like, wow, why would I want to do spiritual work in the bathroom? But I'll tell you right now that those aversions really are more your personal aversion to it rather than the spirit. Becoming a magician and leading a spiritual life means invoking and invoking often. This is what Mathers said. The reason for that is that when you incorporate elevating in your life every day with magical practices like the middle pillar, then that essentially collects light into your spirit sensation, which helps you to grow, enlivens your being, and helps to change your perception in life. I have a student who told me that they perform their LBRP and their middle pillar in the shower every day. They told me that it completely changes their morning to do it. It sets the tone for the whole entire day, and it's become for them part of their regular habits for getting ready in the morning, right alongside of taking a shower and brushing their teeth. So we all have our morning rituals: coffee, shower, brushing our teeth, getting dressed, rushing out the door. But we can also add in our banishings, and we don't have to take 15 minutes out of our morning to do that. We can incorporate them into our schedule if need be. So the purpose of this introduction is to show you that when you live a real magical lifestyle, you may need to brainstorm and think about ways that you can incorporate your magical studies into your life. Here's another example. When you get into Zelator and subsequent grades, you'll have to learn a variety of correspondences. That often is very challenging for people to have to learn, the zodiac and all these other terms and definitions and stuff that will enhance their ritual work, because they will say, "Well, I just don't have the time." One of the things that I did when I was a young mother and I was going to school is I would create flashcards and I would bring them with me everywhere. So if I was at the bank or I was at the grocery store or I was at the stoplight, anywhere I could take them out and I could just go through them. And it allowed me the opportunity to incorporate that into my life. It's really difficult for a lot of single mothers or new fathers when they have young children to try to find time in their schedule to do their magical studies and to perform magic. But it's not impossible for you to fit it into your life. Another important thing to remember is that we shouldn't be attached to this idea that things have to be performed a certain specific way. When the truth is that when we want to lead a magical lifestyle, sometimes we need to learn how to incorporate things together. So if you're a mom or you're a dad and you need to learn some correspondences or learn a ritual or do a ritual, then you know what? You may just merely have to brainstorm about how to fit it in. Say, you know what? My kid is taking a 15-minute nap. I'm gonna go really quick, and I'm gonna do this ritual, or maybe I do it in the shower, or maybe I ask, um, I I switch off with a neighbor and I babysit her kids one day, and she babysits mine. So not only can I have a little break for myself, but I also can have some time to do a little magic. You also don't have to have a practice, a huge magical practice, every single day of your life. Some people think that, well, I need to do 2, 3 hours of magic every single day if I'm a serious magician. That's absolutely not true. I, as an adept, do my banishings and middle pillar, as mentioned before, every single morning. And then I have my magical practice. I set aside an hour and a half on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. 3 days a week is when I get to do serious magical work. Would I love to do more every single day of the week? Of course I would. But my schedule just does not necessarily allow for that. I have to balance out my responsibilities as an adept with my responsibilities as a job with my job and being a mother and running a temple. So there's a lot of stuff that comes in. But what I do is I carve out a little time. I say Wednesdays, I don't take any phone calls. I don't take any phone calls from students. I don't take any phone calls from friends or family. I give myself that day to catch up on things that I need to, and then I carve out that little space in my day, an hour and a half on Wednesday, in order to do some magical work. And I'll tell you right now that when I was in graduate school getting my Ph.D., sometimes my magical practice was a little less. But I did what we in the order refer to as dailies every single day. Dailies being your banishings, your middle pillar, and maybe you augment that with a little something extra. If you're in a higher grade, maybe it's a communion with an archangel or something like that. It's important to understand that even if you go for months without having the time to do a ritual that may last an hour or 2 hours, that every single day you're performing your dailies. These only need to take 5 minutes. If you really have time to get into them, they can take 15 to 20 minutes if you want. You can utilize your banishings and your middle pillar as a meditative practice in your daily life. But if you just don't, I've helped you to understand that even though we may be very busy, even if we're going to school and having work and we have kids and we just don't have the time in our minds to have this flourishing, magical lifestyle and practice that we wish we did, we can still incorporate magic into our daily lives that helps us to purify and elevate every single day so that when we do have the time and space that opens up for us to engage in a more thorough practice, we have prepared ourselves through the daily work that we have done in order that we will have more intimate and elevating experiences in our more thorough work. Please feel free to comment on this video or to ask any questions on our Facebook forum. If you are in further need of assistance, feel free to contact myself or any of the other adepts. We're always here to help you. Have a wonderful day. 770.